He got it because he had hepatitis. And I know quite a bit about organ transplants because I got first-hand information from a man that did several. But, I'm thinking, well, help out quality of life, at least for some people that have that kind of a problem, and but nothing ever happened. And it was really sad, and I did discuss it with a couple of United States senators that were from Colorado, and still pushed a little bit on it to, why don't we, we got a lot of hog farms out here around Yuma. I think we could be using the kidneys from the pigs and giving the ham and bacon away, but nothing was ever done, and we really couldn't get nothing going. And then, of course, I didn't really delve all the way through might have got brought up, and I might have missed it, but then I find out later on, about 3 years ago or so, that the United States government, there are several companies set up that do dialysis, so, it's kind of a paid-for government thing. It's no wonder they didn't want to try to do anything. No wonder.
Well, isn't that fascinating that that there might even be that capability of making sure the body does not reject these transplant organs with that same kind of material?
Well, it's not so much reject. Could it mask them down enough so the body, you don't have to give the person so much anti-rejection drugs that it tears everything else up, keeping that organ to function. Could be, hey, it's a given we could make a metal kidney and put in somebody and I'd never know it was there, never have a problem. I mean, piece of metal, but like I said, I think, a kidney, circle it with the membrane, you don't have to put proprioceptor cells in it, just a close facsimile thereof, and maybe we could have something that would improve the quality of life for the people that have these issues. And we need, 70,000 kidneys a year, and they're always up for looking for organ donors, and we got something like this in this language for, Dr. Leer found the membrane in 1995, so go figure, about a quarter of a century, and nothing. It's sad, and especially now that I've gotten a lot older and I got kids and grandkids, if I have one of my grandkids would need an organs, and we still have a problem in the issue, it's society. It's sad. That's all I'll say. That's as far as I really want to go. It's just sad.
Yeah, it is.
And like I said, if anybody hears me, all you got to do is answer me. Hell, I'll argue the points.
Yeah,
but
I know you. Things
will. Like that.
So let me ask you the actual, other than the fact that this implant was covered with this material that was helping your body not to recognize it, not to have any inflammatory response when it was inside your wrist. Was there any other analysis done on that implant once they took it out of you?
Well, I'll finish with the membrane, and then I'll discuss a couple of the deals on the metallic. But like I say, the membrane itself, what Dr. Leer interested in it was when they took an implant out, the first one, they couldn't cut that membrane with a scalpel. When it's in a red state, when it's saturated in blood, they couldn't cut it with a scalpel. And I think that led him to title his book, Aliens and the Scalpel, but then mine they put it in water and it became soft and opaque, and they were able to cut it. But that's the membrane. Well, within the metallic objects, now, Dr. Leer found 17 metallic objects. 7 of them were what he called cantaloupe seed type objects. Now, mine was one of the 7 cantaloupe seed type objects. Now, they were all similar in their composition, except, like I say, 7 of them were made like cantaloupe seeds. That's what they look like. Really couldn't hardly tell, you couldn't tell them apart, per se, and the others were different things. The first surgery woman had a cantaloupe seed type object like that in her toe and 2 rods. Another man had an angle-shaped deal, different shaped metallic forms. But some of the metals that showed up in different ones. Of course, there was a different ratio of metal. You know, they weren't all just the same with the metals. Some had a little more, maybe a little more nickel, and maybe some had a little more silver. Some have a little more iron. The iron was all, they said, that was one thing showed up, was, you know, these metallics, that the iron was from a meteorite. And that was from a lab and so on. But then there was other metals showed up that had non-earthly isotopic ratios. So, you know, these metals didn't form within our solar system. You know, I think my implant might, pardon?
Isn't that fascinating right there? I mean, you know, some people have probably been listening to our interview here tonight and thinking, well, you know, what is the proof that these things are anything special at all? When indeed, my understanding is that when they did the analysis of the implant itself, that they can actually tell, like you said, the isotopic ratios of what it's made up of doesn't even exist in our planet. That's fascinating.
In our solar system. And couldn't have formed in our solar system. Now, don't ask me how, because that's more scientific than I got. But even, like I say, listening to Dr. Leer talk on Art Bell, he did my surgery and did my research on mine like in 2001, 2002, several years in there, maybe up to 2004. And got some others. Well, he was able to research, you know, electron microscopes got better. You know, all the other equipment they were using for research, it all got better. You know, so you kind of had to keep, you know, amplifying the research, you know, and of course, they don't, you know, you don't run an electron microscope for nothing, you know, when you need to get something done. Of course, I think that there was some help, and I think the government did help a little, would kind of clandestinely help, because they were wanting to know too. Now, I could say a few things about that, but I don't have the absolute proof, so, you know, I kind of let that slide.
So your feeling is that while these labs were doing, you know, supposedly a double-blind study, they really didn't know what they were looking at, I understand, when they did the analysis. You're thinking that the government was involved maybe in the background, trying to find out the answers? Huh?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that, you know, yes. Even with me, there was a couple of little things that happened that, you know, didn't notice at the time.
Yeah.
But now that look back over the years, that was a little shady. Oh, sure, why wouldn't they be? You know, interested. I mean, they're getting the work done. They just didn't want to publicly acknowledge to an interest. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, I do get.
You know, I mean, sure. I mean, finding out things. I mean, in the early ones with mine, you know, a couple of carbon nanotube was showing up.
Interesting.
How was that carbon nanotube? Well, like I say, there was always around 30 different types of elements in these implants. 30 to 35. Yeah. You know, I'm not, but enough to make it interesting. How'd they get put together? They couldn't have used heat, or they destroyed the carbon nanotubes. You know, and then find out a little later on with a little more research. Well, some of these were a double-shelled carbon nanotubes. You know, as I'm learning about it, and but just little things like that showing them now with better research equipment. But you know, it's just like the iPhone come out, and all of a sudden, boom, we really got that. And well, that's kind of when they did my research. We were still we had the cell phone, but it was a little bigger, and then boom, all of a sudden the iPhone came up, and then the last 8-9 years the doctor's research was accelerated up, you know, and what was found out, but it was kept making it a lot more interesting. you know.
Yes.
And people say, well, didn't do this and didn't do that. But he did put it out in the public realm. I mean, he put the books out and stuff like that. I mean,
yes.
Sure he didn't. And why didn't he let everybody? Because there was an incident that happened. I won't mention the university, but they did to a university, and Dr. Leer went there, and they did a little bit of a program. And then after he left, they come back in and redone it.
Yeah.
I did redone the conclusion.
Yeah,
so,
isn't that very interesting? They changed their mind, in other words.
Well, it didn't want the other facts out, you know.
Yeah.
Didn't really want the public to know that could be found. You know, it's just like one of the programs that the worst thing I heard was there was one, and he was Dr. Leer. I know he found signals when he was looking online because that was starting to show up to find out the frequencies and stuff. And he had sent me some, but it was on my old computer, and I'd lost them. But he was talking about that. Well, you know, it got brought up on a program later on, but they go, but it could have been contaminated. Oh, please. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, he was a surgeon for 40-plus years. You know, when you're a doctor, you're a doctor. Now, you might be the top of the class or the bottom of the class, but you're a doctor. But I don't think Roger was at the bottom of the class. You know?
No.
Because you know, I've got a wife and a couple other daughters in the medical profession. I know how that works. I don't have one in the life.
Yeah. Well, you're probably lucky there.
Well, I ran out.
Yeah, there you go. You mentioned something a second ago, Timothy, about the idea that these implants had some kind of unique frequency, electromagnetic or whatever. Let's talk about that a little bit. What do you know about your implant and any kind of frequency that it might have emitted?
Well, see, here, let me go. I can kind of explain a little bit of how the government would work on this one. Dr. Leer has an individual line up I can't remember, radio frequency modulator and needed a specific microphone for it to test on mine. Well, got the modulator, but the guy didn't get the specific microphone that was needed. He got one that was close. You get my drift?
Okay.
So, you know, whatever showed up then, well, that was close. There could have been a little, maybe that didn't register right because that really wasn't the right one. But, you know, and did kind of get a signal. But like I say, with the later ones, once Dr. Leer became aware that this kind of phenomenon was happening while they were in the body, you know, picked up several signals. Well, VHF and UHF, and I thought he said maybe microwave. But anyway, the signals were not shortwave, but a very long wave. These transmissions were used mainly for deep space communication. So, you know, and that's all, you know, once I learned that, I didn't press for the technicals on it, but I learned that was kind of a modus operandi that was operating with these objects. So,
well, isn't that fascinating that these materials not only do they have isotopic ratios that don't seem to be created in our solar system, but they also have the capability or frequencies that might be used for deep space communication. That's fascinating to me. Well,
you know, that way the signal could go out, and the way I get it, it spreads out, so it doesn't go to one locale, but it kind of spreads out, so wherever somebody is, if they're out there a ways, then they can still pick it up. You know, what's the drift I got along them lines. Now, there was another scientist, I won't mention his name, he's an elderly gentleman, material nuclear scientist, and he looked at the I just found out because